I love Andor. It's one of the greatest pieces of Star Wars media ever created, yet LEGO has been rather sparse with sets for the show. Just a few days ago they released the U-Wing, but today we'll look at the first Andor set LEGO released, the Ambush on Ferrix, and I will tell you exactly why I love this set. So drop your opinion in the comments, strap in, and let's get into it. After show after show after show that Star Wars has given us in the last couple of years, which were frankly very disappointing, Tony Gilroy's Andor was something so refreshing. Episode 3 was an immediate highlight and also the inspiration for this very set. With the Ambush on Ferrix having been released in August of 2022, it actually predates the premiere of the show by about a month, and I distinctly remember this set receiving mixed reviews. Now, most of the original criticism revolved around this set's retail price, which sits at $70 US. That is by no means cheap, even if looking at modern prices might make it appear that way, but with a piece count of 679 pieces, it actually comes out to a price per piece ratio of 10.3 cents. As I've mentioned before, always take the price per piece value with a grain of salt, but that is by no means bad. Included in that piece count are also 3 minifigures, which we'll address now, starting with Cassian Andor himself. Cassian's outfit here represents his look from the climax of the first arc of Andor, ultimately leading him to join Luthen. He rocks a beautiful brown coat with a bunch of undergarments beneath it and a set of longer hair. Now let me get my critiques of this figure out the way first before we address all the positives. Andor's hair is not this long at the beginning of the show. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool piece, but he actually looks more like Jesus than Diego Luna right here. My second and last point of criticism is the arms. They are reddish brown, while his coat is dark brown, which doesn't make any sense. But as I mentioned, the outfit is beautiful. You've got an almost seamless transition from the legs over the hips onto the torso. The colors chosen are rather muted, but perfect for the style and atmosphere of Andor, consisting of brown and matte greens and blues with a silver belt buckle to introduce more variety. Lastly, they changed the skin tone from 2016's version, making it a tad bit darker to more accurately represent Diego Luna. At the time of release, Luthen Rael was Stellan Skarsgård's second LEGO figure ever. By now that number has doubled, but I absolutely love this iteration of him. This figure adorns Luthen's beautiful olive green coat, and unlike with Andor, we don't have weirdly different colored arms. I love all the small details, like the seams running down all the way to his legs, and everything beneath the coat, the grey robe, the belt or the green below it, adds much needed depth to the minifig. The face also matches Skarsgård's nowadays, admittedly bit older look, and so does the hair, which actually comes insanely close to Luthen's receded hair from the show. Syril Karn, one of Andor's lead characters, is our last figure from the set. Now, I have two gripes with this minifig. First of all, it falls into the large category of figures on which LEGO just cranked up the saturation by 100% and called it a day. The Primo forces wear uniforms which aren't nearly this bright blue, but are rather closer to a sand or dark blue, similar to the one used on LEGO Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 figures. In certain shots though, it does look a little more bluish, which is why I can let that pass, but my second complaint is that this doesn't look anything like Syril. Syril is the skinny guy with very defined cheeks, and this is just a random face. Spinning this into a positive though, I do love these guys, and I would love to have a million more of these figures. The square nature of LEGO minifigs really benefits the look of them, given that the Prima uniform makes its wearers look rather blocky. Also, I absolutely love the head, 1-to-1 accuracy to its in-universe version. So I really like the figures, but I would have definitely liked 1 or 2 more for a $70 set. Marva, Brasso, Biggs or Linus Mosk are just some ideas to either equip Ferrix or the Primo forces a little better. But we can't be held back by hopes and wishes, so let's have an actual look at the build the set provides us with. Our main build is obviously the RK392 mobile Tac-Pod, while the side build is a 57D delivery speeder, one of which we've seen many iterations throughout the years. The Tac-Pod is the real reason why I love this set. I said it before, but I'm a sucker for odd and unusual builds from LEGO Star Wars. I reviewed the Bounty Hunter Assault Gunship because it was such a weird set too, and I'm telling you, I don't need a million X-Wings or TIE Fighters, just give me more creative and new models. Admittedly, it's not huge. At a length of 23 cm, it's barely bigger than Cassian's speeder, and a width of 70 cm is also far from impressive. It measures 11 cm in height, and if we compare it to something like 2013's Gunship, it's starting to look a bit pathetic. But you know what they say, size isn't everything, especially given that it's pretty accurate to the Tac-Pod's in-universe size, and due to its smaller dimensions, it's really concise and detailed. Scouting around the exterior here, there isn't a single area which I could genuinely complain about. I even like the sticker detailing here. The shape was achieved incredibly well, utilizing a number of ingenious building techniques, which made the assembling process pretty fun too. The only critique I can muster up is that the Tac-Pod in Andor is a pretty smooth looking model, while this build leaves a lot of uncovered studs out in the open, but it genuinely doesn't matter that much to me. I want to focus on 2 areas in particular though, being the top and the back. As you can see, LEGO utilized the windshield piece from Speed Champions to achieve the accurate look of the cockpit here, which is brilliant, and it's incorporated into the build in a way where you can actually fold up the entire top until the turret. The Tac-Pods do possess a rotatable turret in the show, which technically is a little further to the front, but I gotta say, I like how this was built, and the new stud shooters are such an upgrade from the old ones. To each side of the gun we have these beautiful engines with attached wings, almost akin to the Republic gunship's back section. Those wings are significantly larger though, whereas these are much shorter, leading to the whole Tac-Pod kinda looking like a bumblebee. You can actually also fold these up to simulate the landed position. It definitely looks a little funky and not as cool as something like the V19 turret, but it's accurate nonetheless. And before I forget to mention it, you've got sticker detail on the top and undersides of these wings, which is a little crazy in comparison to other Star Wars sets. I do want to take a look at the back as well though. In the show, Tac-Pods open on the back. This was changed here due to the structural problems that it would have caused. You can still fold down the back flap, but it doesn't lead anywhere at all, and it's incredibly fucking difficult. I don't know why they made it this way, to be honest. Instead of the back opening on this model, both sides can be folded down, and as previously mentioned, the top can be pulled upwards to give you pretty good access to the interior. It's actually fairly spacey, not as cramped as we're used to with many other ships, and provides you with a total of 5 spots for minifigures. While the Tac-Pod in Andor gives the security forces standing space, LEGO elected to go with these nougat seats. They aren't accurate, but they do undoubtedly look nice, and in between the 2 rows of seats you also get a fire extinguisher and a box. The cockpit is honestly fantastic too, with so much sticker detail and a surprising amount of space for your minifig. Usually these spaces are pretty tight and you have to position the figure weirdly, but here it's not an issue at all. The windshield also closes without any issues, and I just gotta reiterate how much I adore this ship. I have to admit though, the side build is also dope. These speeders are always way too big in comparison to the minifigs, but I love the rustical look of this one. The darker color scheme and little details like the cord wrapped around the rod set this one apart from other sillier looking ones, and it does give you enough space for 2 figures, which also isn't usual for these builds. So coming to a short but sweet conclusion, this set isn't perfect. I would have loved 1 or 2 more figures and the build could have been a tad bit bigger. But both builds are very refreshing and a constant sea of remakes and recolorings of older sets. The Tac-Pod is a unique new take on a gunship, a field that is a little understaffed anyways, and thankfully sets like the Onyx Cinder are continuing the run of weird looking but wonderfully odd sets. If you want to know more about a set that also falls into this category, check out my review of the Bounty Hunter Assault gunship right here. It's a bit of an older video, but if that doesn't bother you, give it a watch, and until next time, goodbye.